after a year and a half of living a life as a recluse.
Verdict: we, the jury, find George Zimmerman not guilty.
George Zimmerman walked out of a Florida courthouse a free man.
It could have been racial, and then again, it could not have been. You know, it may have just been a bad situation.
The jury's verdict in the George Zimmerman case is one that spawned pure outrage and even open support for his not guilty verdict. So I wanted to find out how criminal cases here in Missouri compare to Florida's cases. So I spoke with former prosecutor and now private law firm attorney Mark Williams.
In a criminal case, if the defendant chooses to have a trial by jury, that defendant's going to get 12 jurors as opposed to 6, which is the Florida system.
He tells me this could have played a role in Zimmerman's acquittal. He says you may get a juror that's on the fence, and that's when other jurors are going to work on that person to get them to go one way or another. And if more are opposed, you're likely apt to be easily swayed. Now let's go back to the actual case itself. Florida has a stand your ground law. So what about Missouri? Well, we have what's called a castle doctrine.
In kind of bare bones, if a felony is going to be committed within your residence, you have the right to use deadly force. So it's kind of shoot first, ask questions later versus ask questions, then shoot.
He says that changes the complexity of the situation, like the George Zimmerman case.
You have a fight happen in that case, or if you would translate it to Missouri, you would have kind of a break-in into a house. You have a shooting, somebody gets killed, you're going to have one side of the story.
And at that point, he says, it's tough for the state. According to attorney Williams, he says Florida didn't have the other version, Trayvon's version, of who threw the first punch or who was yelling in that phone call.
This case with Trayvon Martin, he's not there anymore. There was nobody else there to really watch how it started. I don't think they had really definitive, concrete evidence of how things started. You just have George Zimmerman's side of the story.
And unless he tells inconsistent facts, the state had to live with what he said.
It's between that man and God whether he's guilty or not, and he'll be punished if he is.
George Zimmerman living a life that's changed forever.
My heart hurts for my son.
While Trayvon's parents are living their life without their son. Reporting in Kirksville, Justin Andrews, KTVO News.